What is up, world? BakermanBrad here, dropping in with Athena, one of my favorite Greek guardians who really knows how to ruin everyone's day. Unless, of course, you're on her side, then you're pretty excited whenever she shows up. But also, at the end of this, we'll be taking a sneak peek at a little guardian who's going to be making some big waves here in Smite, so let's do this. So when it comes to Athena, I personally have two different trains of thought. And one of them being, you know what, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to ruin your day by poking you and doing an ungodly amount of damage with a combination of things. Or I'm going to get in there and poke you and do a lot of damage by allowing my teammate to do a crap ton of damage and ruin your day. So needless to say, at the end of the day, it's going to be ruined by me and Athena. So be ready for that. And I'll actually say that my Athena game really stepped up a notch whenever I witnessed an aggressive Athena against me that ruined my day. And because of that, I took a look at the build that they used and discovered a couple of things that were kind of no-brainers that for some reason I just never had thought of. And I'm really talking about the items that play to her passive ability, Reach, that adds magic damage to her basic attack after using an ability. So the two items I'm talking about are Telekinesis Ring and Polynomicon. When you think about it, and a passive ability that adds magical damage to her basic attack after she uses ability, that also has a passive 35 magical damage from that ring, stacked with Polynomicon's passive, which does 75% of your magic power as basic damage in your basic attack after using an ability, you can really see where this stacks up if you time your basic attack with your abilities to increase your damage output exponentially. And the big trick is finding the burst opportunity, which Athena is not normally considered a burst god. However, by doing this, and if you have someone that's there with you to capitalize on this, you can really ruin someone's day, like I've said many times. And I'll do my best not to say it again because I think you get the idea. Their day is going to be ruined. There it was again. Anyways, back to the build. On this, if you use these two items as your staple for this build, you have to be mindful of the obvious trade-off, which is power for defense. Now, I'm not saying abandon all defenses and go straight up mage, but more like warrior, where you have some defensive items, but primarily power items. So really you'd want to focus on, depending on the team composition of your enemies, the items that allow you to get both physical and magical protections in the same item are really going to be beneficial to creating that warrior bruiser build for Athena with these two items in mind. But unlike the warriors, she has access to Warlock Sash and Ethereal Staff, which then give her the added health and potential magical power from the Ethereal Staff's passive. So these are all options on the build that you can kind of tweak and adjust according to your playstyle, the enemy team, and your team's composition. So keep that in mind whenever you play Athena and use these builds, that it's all depending on a variability that is kind of a hit and miss, play-by-ear style. So to speak further on that idea, you really have to keep in mind the game mode that you're in. If you're in Joust, for example, I wouldn't really suggest going with too much damage because your allies are probably going to be a little bit squishier than normal. So if you aren't able to sit there and soak up the damage and create the chaos with Athena's pull and all of those other issues, then your team is going to be picked apart pretty quickly, which then, of course, everyone's going to be mad at you because for some reason you were the one who caused them to choose that god, or primarily because they're dying, which unfortunately is a common problem, being that nobody wants to take credit for their mistakes. And anyways, I digress, that's not what we're talking about. So to sum it up, Athena is a great ally for anyone who is relying on the other team to be still or relatively predictable with their movements. So Scylla, Zeus, any ADC that has an ability that they want to have their enemy locked down is going to be a great combo for Athena. Now, the newest little combo that I saw was a nice little Susanoo pull into an Athena pull that led them into the tower, and I gotta say, it was pretty entertaining. I got a good chuckle out of that one. But with Athena's pull in mind, I can say that her primary focus is going to be to disrupt enemies that are trying to kill your teammates. Hence the name Guardian. So no matter what, you have to focus on being a team player with Athena, because honestly, you can't reach her full potential by yourself. Yes, there will be times that you'll come out on top in a 1v1, but most of the time, and like I said, to reach that full potential with Athena, you need someone there to capitalize on the situations you create. So that's all she wrote about Athena. However, I did promise a little bit of a tidbit about the newest god that they've got coming out, which is available in the public test servers and has been officially announced on the Smite homepage. The next patch is going to be Dwarven Corruption. So they will be releasing Fafnir, Lord of Glittering Gold. Now, I'm not going to put anything out there too much yet, but I can say that apparently there is something about Norse gods and throwing hammers that really just makes their day. Now, really the biggest thing that Fafnir brings to the table as a dwarf is that there have been stance changes. There's been ultis that allow for different things, and Alquan can turn into his real form, Nuwa hops in the air, revealing her true form, and blah blah blah. But Fafnir is going to be the first and pretty much the only god so far that has this unique of an ulti and transformation. Now, I'm not going to show you what that is. You can read about it, and you can try to get into the playtest servers to get a little taste, but I'm going to let that one simmer a little bit. But with that, if you have any questions about the game, feel free to take a look at the game profile page on MMOHuts.com. If you have any questions about the new patch, go ahead and take a look at SmiteTheGame.com and find out what they've got in there. And pretty much, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. If you have any issues with Athena, or if you have something that you think Athena could do even better, let us know. This is an open comment page. Feel free to, be nice, of course, but always willing to hear what you got to say. So if you haven't hit the like button by now, you should definitely do that, or you should tell me why you haven't. If you haven't subscribed, well, there's also a subscribe button for that. This has been BakermanBrad bringing you Athena, and I'll be bringing you much more later on. So gamers, get back to gaming.